UFC president Dana White slaps the crap out of his wife. Welcome back to the Reaction Channel, my freedom-loving friends, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants. There's a lot of it. And this little piece of news about Dana White slapping his wife, I wanted to cover it because I like to be a person of principle. The behavior of slapping his wife, completely inexcusable. All the things I need to say in order to get you to believe I don't condone his actions. Just ugly as hell. A man should never hit a woman unless like she's trying to kill his kids, things like that. So being a person of principle, I don't like to give a free pass for anybody who's on Team Freedom. Now I consider Dana White, over the past 3 years, I have so admired his stance on freedom. He was the first major sports league, if you will, company to open up, basically do everything in his power to defy the lockdowns, open up, saying if people want to watch the fights, if fighters want to fight, we're going to put on a show. We're going to keep countless staff involved in the UFC. We're going to keep their jobs. I really admire that. He stand up to the corruption and said, not on my watch, I am not surrendering my freedoms. So I admire the hell out of the guy for that, but I don't want to give him a free pass. My mission isn't to just call out tyrannical leftists, globalists, and horrendous people like that. For me, the principle is calling out tyrannical behavior no matter who it comes from. If it comes from my best friend, if it comes from Fauci. So Dana White exhibited some tyrannical behavior towards his wife. So I want to take a look at it, share some thoughts in just a second. First, here's the incident, and this is on New Year's Eve in a nightclub in Mexico. Take it away, Dana. You got her. Ugly as hell. So you could see she slapped him, then he slapped her, and then he kept going after her. Completely inexcusable. Now, it would be easy for any commentator who loves freedom to look the other way anytime another freedom lover does something horrible. But I like to stand on principle. I don't like to do the groupthink thing. Now, in a public statement since then, Dana White has done the exact PR thing you think he should have. He's come out and said, this was wrong. I own it. I am at fault. I apologize. I have never done anything like this before. He and his wife have also said we were drinking very heavily. And his wife came out and said basically same thing, supporting them and their family. We were drinking a lot. He's never done this before. We're going to make sure this never happens again. All the things that you should say in PR, whether you mean it or not. Do they mean it? I don't know. Probably, but I don't really know. Now, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you love America. It is complete piece of trash behavior to hit a woman if you're a man. Even if you're equal opportunity for genders. Women, you shouldn't hit women either. It's a truth of the matter, but it's also an excuse where Dana and his wife both said, we were drinking heavily. That doesn't get a pass in my book. I don't care who you are, what you're doing, and if drinking, quote unquote, provokes it, you are responsible. You are the one that chose to drink, that might have loosened up the screws inside your head to make you do something stupid. Now, when you do that something stupid because you chose to drink heavily, from my point of view, that is 100% as much responsibility on you as if you were sober, because you're an adult human being choosing to drink. Then you do something tyrannical, horrible. You're committing violence not only on another person needlessly, but in this case, Dana White committing violence on his wife, who technically has not come out and said if she's a woman or not. But I would speculate that she is a woman. So with that said, I just wanted to share this news, not because I like gossipy crap, but because I like principles. And when someone does something tyrannical, I'm going to call it out because that's part of what we do on this channel. I don't care if you love America or if you hate America. I love to call out tyrannical behavior, scum of the earth behavior, no matter who you are. Then there's the question, well, what happens to Dana White? Is he canceled? Now, here's what's interesting. I haven't seen any noteworthy follow-up stories on this piece since the video came out. which, by the way, Dana White probably like, who's the jackass in that club who is filming me? I'm going to have them assassinated. What will happen to Dana White? My speculation is nothing. I don't think he's cancelable. He runs the UFC. He doesn't really answer to many people. Maybe at most he has to answer to the corporation of ESPN, and then I guess Disney, I think, owns ESPN because ESPN has a huge deal with the UFC. So from my point of view, the only route where Dana White, his career at least, is affected or canceled is if the executives at ESPN and or Disney decide to make an optical display out of somehow letting him go. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe they could do that. But aside from that, Dana White's one of these people, similar to Dave Chappelle, kind of in different reasons, but he's uncancelable because he doesn't need things that people can take away. He doesn't need attention. You could take away his social media, delete him, deplatform him. He's not cancelable in that regard. In my opinion, cancel culture is largely something, it only works if you submit to it. He's not really the kind of guy that submits to it. Which, by the way, in this case, 99% of the time, when we're looking at cancel culture, it's frivolous, ideological BS. But now when I'm using the term canceling Dana White, in the context of not frivolous stuff, but to the question, what will come of this? Will there be consequences on Dana White? I don't think there will be. I think he's proven at some level he's a hypocrite, because there's been UFC fighters in the past who have committed domestic violence and immediately he terminates them from the UFC. Another question, is Dana White on the whole a good person? Answer, I sincerely don't know. Is this horrendous behavior coming from someone who's inherently a good person, or is this horrendous behavior coming from someone who's inherently a bad person? I don't know. I don't know Dana White. I know some of his public statements, pro-freedom, pro-America, constitutional. I love those kind of things. Of course, take that with a grain of salt. I've never met the guy personally. I've met fighters who have worked for him in the UFC, and they don't like him. They didn't like him as a boss. So I don't know. All I know about Dana White as a person is this is some of the ugliest behavior that can come from a man. It is not masculinity. It's little immaturity coming from a scared little boy who's dressed up inside of a big body. The other thing with Dana White, news came out a few months ago. He did some kind of genetic testing, state-of-the-art, precision medicine kind of thing. And he did this testing with a company who they can predict very accurately when you're going to die based on different markers in your blood and physiology. And they looked at Dana's markers. I don't know what they were, but through their health assessment, they found like, whoa, you're going to die in 10 years unless you change something. And then Dana White came out and said that he's making all these lifestyle and dietary changes because that woke him up, realizing there is a large likelihood he only had 10 years to live based on the pace he's going. But then we see this nightclub video where he's drinking heavily. It's like, bro, if you're trying to live longer, that's probably not going to help your cause. So there's at least some hypocritical aspect of him firing fighters for hitting women, which I fully support. Then he hits a woman. Then he comes out and says, I only have 10 years to live. I'm going to turn my life around with my health. Then he comes out, he's just so inebriated, literally beating his wife. So I think we can say he's got some stupid genes in him as well. Probably some highly intelligent genes. But with that said, my freedom-loving friends, that's it for today's video. I wanted to go through this with you because for me, it's a matter of principle. Calling tyrannical behavior out, no matter who you are, no matter how much you hate America or love America. If you're acting tyrannically, it deserves to be called out because it helps us all learn how to live better from that example. And with that said, my freedom-loving friend, if you too want to unwoke yourself, you can check out all the latest merch in my freedom shop, only at awakenwithjp.com. Helps you spread the freedom vibes. Clinically proven, safe and effective. We'll release the safety data on the shirts in 75 years. Nothing to hide. See you next time.